Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today we are looking at the Federation Attack Fighter. Um, kind of going off a little bit here. So, we have this ship, which you see, which is really the Peregrine Fighter, but what they have this listed as is this is kind of done differently. Um, see it. I guess the easiest way to really explain it is, you're going to see on your this is just a straight crew of two, uh, kind of a short range fighter, where the other one where the Peregrine is actually a little bit more of a very small ship or an armed shuttle. So we'll kind of go off of that differentiation. So the description that they have here, the Federation fighter or the Federation attack fighter was a type of fighter vessel utilized by Starfleet in the late 24th century. In 2370, the Marquis were able to produce a large amount of these fighters as part of their fight against the Cardassians and the or in the demilitarized zone. So this is where it's kind of coming from. This is actually something that was created more by the Maquis. During the Dominion War, hundreds of these fighters were deployed in various battle fleets, most notably during the Operation Return DS9 episode, The Marquis Part 2. Sacrifice of a large number of Federation fighters were also assigned to protect Earth during the Dominion War. During the Breen Assault in late 2375, Federation fighters were scrambled to engage the Breen fighters that had entered Earth's atmosphere. The Next Generation short story, Home Soil. Okay, so this comes to us from Memory Alpha and Memory Beta. So they are saying the Peregrine and the Attack Fighter are two different ships. Where I guess in the books that I have and everything else, the Peregrine is the Attack Fighter. So we will consider them separate because we do have stats here, and somebody went through the process. And looking at this, this is a shorter video. I think it probably will be. Um, we have a fighter, Starfighter scale. It's about 30 meters long. Ship mass is 29 metric tons. It's a size 2 ship. Let's see, we have an autopilot, which does a 3D point or 3D plus 1, so it can fly itself with a 3D plus 1 piloting skill. Has a crew of 2. If you pilot it just by yourself, it is 8 plus 5 to all of your skills for piloting and gunnery and so on and so forth. Now the big difference between the two of them is passengers is 0. Okay. Cargo capacity is none. Consumables is 2 weeks of food rations of whatever. Warp drive is a 7.4 and an 8.6. Now, seeing that I've been doing this here, let's see, Galaxy class. I'm hoping that you guys get to see this. I'm just copying and paste. I think it's oops, my little bar's in the way here. Okay. Uh, because for me, and I've said this before, I'd love to see Star Wars, Star Trek, kind of like BattleTech, some of that stuff all thrown together. Okay, even Transformers thrown in there. Transformers is very easy. Uh, we can easily throw Transformers in. Really, it's just you make your character, but what scale is your character going to be at? Okay, so think about what kind of a vehicle it is, and that's the scale you're going to be at. Okay, so if you wanted your character to be a walker and transform into whatever robot, then you're going to probably be at walker scale. If you're going to be a tank, probably walker scale. If you're going to be a car, speeder scale, something like that. Okay, so you get the idea. Okay, um, and we just go from there. So your strength would go off of the size category that you're at. But now keep in mind, because now you're a bigger vehicle or bigger size category, trying to reach down or whatever, that's going to change things for your attack. Okay, so let me kind of add this in here. And I'm going to paste this in. And there we are. So now I'm going to move my picture over a little bit. Okay, there. So I want to keep that um, 8x backup hyperdrive and a ×1 primary hyperdrive, only because that keeps everything similar. Okay, if you want to keep it in straight Star Trek, this is perfectly fine. But because me, being silly me, I would love to throw this in, and I think keeping this all flowing together, and that's why, again, we have the Constitution class, then I did the NX, and then I did the Galaxy class, because that way I know where to gauge things off of. Now, everything else here is from D6 Holocron. So if you want to look this up, it's on d6holocron.com, and go for it. You get all the ships. I'm just bringing one ship out every day, and we go from there. I started working on one of the other FASA ships, and then everything shut down on me, and then now I have to kind of start all over. I lost everything. Thankfully, I wasn't too far in, but it's still one of those things of, oh crud, it just happens. It's nothing to be upset about. It's just some of those things that happen. Yeah, it gets frustrating, but it happens. Uh, so of course we're going to have a nav computer, because everything in Star Trek is going to have nav computers. Most of the stuff that we run into in Star Wars, until you get to the small snub fighters, and we're relying on the droids to be our nav computer, and they're going to have pre-programmed jumps to go into. All right, maneuverability is a 2D plus 1, very agile. Space is a 9. Atmosphere, we can go 1,150 kilometers an hour. Has a hull of 3D and shields of 3D. So pretty robust for a small fighter. Um, we don't get really big numbers in Star Trek when we cross this over, from what I've been noticing, because I think the Galaxy class was a 6. And yet there are some Star Destroyers that are like a 10D for a hull. So keep that in mind. All right, our sensor package. So passively, we can scan out to about 3 kilometers at 8+1. We can do an active scan out to 8 kilometers at a +2, a search at 12 kilometers at a 1D+1, and a focus of 500 meters at a 1D+2. So there we are. And then kind of wrapping up, when we start getting into our weapons, we have Type 9 phaser cannon. Has a 180-degree forward firing arc. Of course, it's just a crew of 1. Fire control is 1D+1. It can fire twice in a round, and it does 90 damage. And then we have 6 photon torpedo launchers. I think it's just 6 missiles, 3 in the starboard wing, 3 in a port wing. Let's see, fire control is 1D+1. Oh no, it says it's an auto loading, because there's 50 of them total, and then we can shoot 1 missile out of each launcher, and damage is 10D. So not bad. Now that means that if you're shooting at a capital class, that's going to be 8D damage. Class Gamma tractor beam, forward facing, and that's going to be a fire control of 1D+1 with a strength of 9D. Now miscellaneous, we have crew quarters for 4 people. Spartan, that seems like that's a little off here, because we only have a crew of 2, no passengers. So when they were doing this, I would say probably going to be a slight slip up here. Decks of 2, escape pods 2, escape pod capacities 4. Transporter, 1 transporter for 4 people, Cargo of 1. I'm going to guess this is because we can, being emergency. Um, and normally they have that in here, like the emergency capacity or whatever. Capacity is 4 people for the transporter, 1 cargo transporter for 200 kilograms, 10 probes. Let's see, and that's what they have. And like I said, this is from Memory Alpha and Memory Beta. Okay, but some of this doesn't seem quite right. 2 decks. It's only going to be a single deck for everything that I remember. This is just a single deck. You're going to be sitting there, you know, maybe just a quick little bump in the back. That's what I remember from the series. I know it's been a little while. I am kind of watching it slowly. I get a little time here and there, but that's what I remember. So maybe my memory's fuzzy, and then they're right, or maybe they're a little off on a couple spots. Either way, it doesn't matter as long as it works for you as well. Okay? And I've said this for everything I create, and I'm going to say this for here as well. Okay? If this works for you, fine. If there's something that doesn't work for you, change it to make it work. Okay? That's all that matters. You have to, if you're doing this as a role playing game, you have to work or make it work to fit your game, I guess is the best way to say it. If it doesn't work quite right, then we just change it and make it work. So, all right, with that, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for visiting. It's always wonderful to see you. Bye. We'll see you in the next one.